The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I'm close to Pesach. I want to share with you one of the most incredible stories that I ever heard. And I had the experience to meet the one who's involved in the story. And this is a story that has changed many people's lives and many people's Sedarim, because it has to do with the Pesach Seder. And a few days ago I was in the supermarket in Kosher West, and when I met someone over there that came over, they said ever since they heard this story, their family davens out. They scream out by the part of Vanitzak, which we're going to talk about right now, and they've been answered each year for something else. And so many people have told me that they've been answered because of the segula that's involved in the story, and that's why I'm sharing with you today. So the story begins, actually I read it from Rav Meiluch Biderman. Rav Meiluch from Eretz Yisrael, Rav Elimelech Biderman, the great Mashpia, says over a story, one of his favorite stories when it comes to Pesach. And it's about a young man named Munish. And he writes in his book, in the story, he writes as follows, that there's a segula from the Apterof, the Oihev Yisrael, that when it comes to the part of the Seder, of Vanitzak El Hashem, they cried out to Hashem. That's a time that you're supposed to daven to Hashem. It's an Eis Ratzai. And you daven to Hashem, let's say you have needs. People need shidduchim, daven for a shidduch. People need refuah, you daven for refuah, parnasa, whatever your need may be. That's the opportune time to cry out. And said Rev Biderman that there was a young man named Munish, and he says over a whole story that Munish was seeking a shidduch, and he was having a hard time. Now why was he having a hard time? Because he had an older brother who was also in shidduchim, and he wouldn't go out before his older brother. And it was not easy for Munish. And then one day Munish heard about this segula, about crying out to Hashem by Vanitzak, and by his Seder, they cried out to Hashem, and shortly thereafter they were answered. Now I'm not going to go through all the details of the story, but when I heard this story, it was amazing. Now listen to this part. So one day, after reading this story from Rav Biderman, I'm walking in my local supermarket, and I'm shopping, and I'm getting the regular groceries. It's shortly before Pesach, and I'm near the meat section of the supermarket, and all of a sudden I hear the one who runs the meat section call out to one of the workers, and he says, "Hey Munish, come over here." Now when I heard that name, I said, one second, Munish? That's such an interesting name. I don't even think I ever heard the name Munish before. I don't know anyone named Munish. And suddenly it rang a bell that the last time I heard that name was a couple of days ago when I read from Rav Meiluch Biderman this story about Saul Munish. Comes out this Chassidish younger man, Gishmak Yid, he comes and he starts helping out, doing what he has to do over there in the store. And I come over to him, I said, "By the way, is your name Munish?" He says, "Yes." You know, I was reading a story from Rav Meiluch Biderman, and he says, "Yeah, that story's about me." I couldn't believe it. Rabbi Biderman lives in Eretz Yisrael, and here I am in Lakewood, New Jersey. I'm in some supermarket, and the same Munish is right here. I said, "Munish, tell me over that story." Now, I have a surprise for you today, because I'm not going to tell you over the exact details of the story. I brought in Reb Munish to tell you over the story himself. It's a great schus for me to call Reb Munish to come and share with us this incredible story of how he was answered. Go ahead.
So the story goes like this. I heard this segula from the Apterof. So we came to the Seder, and I told my mother that I heard that the scholar, and we sat down by the Seder, and we start screaming that Monish has to become a chosser. We start screaming by Vanitzak that Monish can't hold it in. He has to become a chosser. And we start screaming, and then my mother asked, "What's going to be with the older brother, with Chaim?" So we said we'll scream for him again. And Chaim, we screamed for him, and not shortly after Pesach, me and my brother became a chosser. So then afterwards, since then, I get people send me names. People can send me names, and I have them in mind.
Unbelievable. So, Munish, let me ask you something. So, what do you do by the Seder? Do you scream? Do you say low? How does it work?
We scream.
You scream out loud.
Yeah, Vanitzak!
Vanitzak! And what happens?
Monish has to become a chosser.
Monish has to become a chosser.
This guy needs a Yeshua.
He needs a Yeshua. This one needs a refuah.
and when we scream and we really mean it, Hashem helps.
Okay, and Rav Meilich wrote over there that Munish has Emunah Pshuta. He has Emunah Pshuta. It's a simple Emunah that a Yid has. And that a Yid could be, everyone could tap into the power that Munish had on that night, right?
Because like the Yid in Mitzrayim, he's screaming, right?
And they all screamed.
And Hashem helped.
And Hashem helped. Now you told me that not only were you answered, but many people have told you also when you davened for them by the Nitzach, they were answered. I have a story that somebody who lives in Lakewood came over to, he has twin daughters. So one daughter got engaged. Then the twin daughter wasn't going shidduchim, and she was become jealous. So I told him to give me her name. I came Pesach, but decided I had her name in mind. A week after Pesach, she became a Kala. Okay, there you have it. Ramunish, his tefillos come from the depths of his heart. Rabbi Isai, we have a great opportunity over here because we are going to give everyone who's watching on Torah Anytime the opportunity to send in your name. I'm going to give you an email. And then once you send in that name, if it's for a fuah, if it's for a shidduch, someone needs a shidduch, it doesn't matter. I've gotten emails myself. Many emails from people who said, you know what, they were looking for a shidduch, they found a shidduch. Now, of course, no tefillah, nothing's guaranteed. But when a person davens from the depths of their heart, Hashem hears the tefillah. So we're going to give you an opportunity. If you want to send your name in, send your name, or whoever needs a tefillah answered, send in the names to the following email address. Revach613@gmail.com. Revach, REVACH 613@gmail.com. That's Revach613@gmail.com.
I have one more thing.
Send in your name, and Be'ez Hashem, I will send it over. That's my email address, and I will send it over to Munish, and Munish will daven for you at his Seder. Yes.
I have one more thing. Since then, every year I meet people in the streets. They say, "Oh, yeah, you're the famous one." I said, "Could you give me names?" I said, "Give me your names. I'll have everybody in mind."
Unbelievable. So you heard it here first. Rabbi Isai, we have an opportunity. Everyone, you should daven out by Vanitzak. Daven in your own home. Some people scream, but some people don't feel a little funny screaming.
In there, God says the answer.
But some people don't like to scream, so say it in your heart. Scream in your heart. If you can't scream out loud, scream it in your heart. Whatever it is, when you get up to those words, look in your Haggadah, Vanitzak el Hashem, cry out to Hashem, Be'ez Hashem, you will be answered, just like Munish was answered, Be'ez Hashem, you will be answered. And I think that's something that we all have to realize. Pesach Seder night is the opportunity, the Eis Rotzoin, to have our tefillos answered, Rabbi Isai. So this Pesach, your Seder, take the opportunity. If you know someone who needs something in their lives, daven for them. Daven. It's the Eis Rotzoin. Be'ez Hashem, your tefillos will also be answered. So one more time, I'll tell you the email, revach613@gmail.com, REVACH 613@gmail.com. Send in your names, Be'ez Hashem. Reb Munish will daven for you. And I hope that you'll daven yourself. You'll take this opportunity to tap into the power of Seder night, share it with your family. I hope that everyone tefillos are answered. This should be a year of Geula, a year when everyone's tefillos, no matter what tsar you're going through, no matter what difficult you're going through, you're going to feel the chayris. Your tefillos will be answered, and the Rebbeinu Shalom will answer all our tefillos, Be'ez Hashem, and bring the Geula Shalema, the Koroi, B'mheira V'yameinu. Amen.
You've just enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org